Hi guys, Dogger here with a new video, and this video will be a discussion about PvP in MMOs and if World of Warcraft is still the king PvP wise. I am queued for a BG right now. If I could do some BGs while I'm talking, why not? But this video is mostly like a talk, so you could put me on the background and listen to the video and tell me your opinion about PvP in MMOs and if World of Warcraft is for you still the king of PvP, and if it's not, let me know what game is actually the king of PvP MMORPG. Now, I'm saying, or I'm like asking this question because I have been playing Ashes of Creation. My PC is not really sturdy, so it is not the greatest experience overall because it is not really well optimized, in my opinion. I have bought the alpha. Please do not do that. It is way too expensive for what it is, but I did data, so I did play it. And whenever I'm playing Ashes of Creation and I'm doing some PvP, it really just, again, I scratch my head and tell myself, like, how come there is no other game that actually made some very good, engaging PvP, competitive PvP, meaningful PvP as World of Warcraft? It's not like World of Warcraft, its systems and how it works is phenomenal, because I truly believe that World of Warcraft would work phenomenally better if it actually has like a world versus world kind of map, or like open world stuff, doing like an open warfare, bragging rights, wanting to get a fortress kind of deal, right? If you're thinking about that, you can think about Guild Wars 2, you can think about maybe Elder Scrolls Online, you could even think about maybe Aeon to a certain extent if you know the, like if you remember the game, where literally it was like you have an open world map where you kind of want to have the territory so you can get the bonuses for PvE as well. You also have Dark Age of Camelot, where it was realm versus realm versus realm, literally a 3 faction war, and it was great. It is like kind of like Guild Wars 2 is literally a ripoff of that, but I would say Dark Age of Camelot, no other game really came close to that extent of open warfare, where like 2 factions actually like team up together to actually try to overtake the dominating one, and you had always like a mechanic or like a bragging rights to that. It feels like weird that the game never really evolved into that. Um, you had that as well. You have Warhammer Online. You can still play the private server. I sometimes play on it just to have like the nostalgia. The only thing I find lacking on Warhammer is, first and foremost, it's not an official server, so you will never have like a stupid growth of player base. It's really going to be very niche. It's actually very good to have at least 1,000 concurrent player at all times, pretty much. And the PvP is active because the maps are not that big, so obviously you will always find action here and there. But I think my issue is it's not official, it will never really grow too much, and the graphics are really old and really didn't age well, so that's the issue. I think World of Warcraft itself, if you're thinking about competitive PvP that is meaningful, that is like really a bragging rights, if you could compare it to, let's say, a MOBA, you could say that it is the League of Legends of the MMORPG genre. And let me explain why. I'm going to diminish the sound of the music because, again, I can't really talk with that music. The truth is that even though you don't like World of Warcraft for some reason, or if you're playing World of Warcraft, it's probably in spite of it, you cannot deny, if you're looking at other MMOs, if you're playing other MMOs, the PvP is never on the same level, like the importance of like the rank. Even though you have a lot of problems with MMR, you have a lot of problems with healers like being literally 300 CR lower than, like in general, in average, lower than DPSers. They have a harder time. You have so little healers and you have so many DPSers that the queue times are quite long. For solo shuffle, for solo QRBGs, even in LFG to find a healer, it's quite tough because again, it's it's economics the same. If you have such a deprecation, such a low amount of healers on the market, you will never have like the amount of groups forming for PvP. But still, it is, in my opinion, still the best PvP. And if it's not retail, it might be classic, it might be TBC, it might be Wrath, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria. That's what I think. That's what I feel truly about like PvP. And it is a curse and a blessing. I would say it's a blessing because the game still exists, still has the biggest pop PvP, like MMO wise, of that, PvP wise as well. Even the queue times are quite long. It's mostly because of the healer problem and the MMR problem and how they handle it. That's like a system problem. It's not really a gameplay problem. It's not really a game design problem. It is purely like, it's also a bit of a game design problem because you need healers. I'm going to defend so I can talk. I feel like they could change a lot of stuff and it would be making it better, but you need to have like the envy and the will to progress the game. That's what I truly believe. And if you are like me and you actually play multiple MMOs just to test or to play, just have to hop on Guild Wars 2, just have to hop on BDO, you have to hop on multitude of MMOs, and you will understand that really there are no match for World of Warcraft. Like, World of Warcraft is such a big established name, but also it has everything that is already baseline good. It just needs improvements. It just needs a lot of improvement to make it like the best ever. I think like a simple thing like the amount of buffs you can see, like procs that you can see on your screen, like right now on a mage, is ridiculous. It's like it just needs a bit of simplification. It needs a bit of like the add-ons are going to be fixed, says the I think Ion said that it will be fixed, so they are going to nuke some add-ons, so that's going to be quite good. But if you're nuking add-ons, you need to nuke a lot of the procs. You need to nuke how the classes work itself. You need to most likely change the MMRs. You need to change how healers are that needed in PvP to actually like have a PvP match. League of Legends did a lot of stuff as well. You could say like it is the simpler MMO, and that's true. Like MOBA, that's true. If you're comparing it with, let's say, how it's called. If you're comparing it with Dota, I'm going to try to nuke him here. I'm not the best assassination rogue here, but I did manage to win, so that's good. I don't know how much damage I actually did. I guess it's okay. But I truly want a MMO to actually like be good. But like after testing Ashes of Creation, I actually made my mind about it. Like I have no faith in Ashes of Creation to be good. Even though their system feels nice, it is hollow because the gameplay itself is not nice at all. Like it is really it's raw, it's like far from being ready. It is still an alpha, so obviously I'm very harsh. They might like change in 2 years. It's going to be maybe the bomb, but I can't see it. Like short term, I can't see it. While classic, it is very primitive. It didn't really change much since back in the day. It actually didn't change at all, and I can see the potential of classic just itself. If you now create classic World of Warcraft, so World of Warcraft Classic, you call it Classic the game, you come out with 2026 the game, literally Classic. You take just how Classic is and you make some improvements, which would be the plus, it would literally blow every single game out of the water, except maybe like retail, because retail hasn't established what's called population, right? I'm dumb. I might just lose here. Yes, I potted in PvP. Sue me. I might die here. I play very bad my assassination rogue, but whatever. At least I did win the matchup with a bit of help. So about Classic Plus, I still think like World of Warcraft itself, even though in its primitive form, which is Classic, and even though it's retail, even though it's PvC, even though it's Mists of Pandaria, it is still blowing every single game out of the water. What I like about Guild Wars 2, for example, is the gameplay. Gameplay feels really neat. I do feel the attacks connecting and you're dodging attacks for reals, and that is also feeling okay and good. My issue with Guild Wars 2 is that if you're complaining about updates in World of Warcraft, you are going to be for a ride in Guild Wars 2. You're going to have even less changes, even less over care from the devs to improve, because again, it doesn't have a sub. They don't have like a team like in World of Warcraft. They don't really have the gigantic plans that World of Warcraft has for its lore, its story, its gameplay, its revolution, every single expansion. Guild Wars 2 doesn't have that. It's really horizontal progression, and in every sense of the way, the damage that you're doing right now today is kind of the same the damage that you would do 3 years back, 2 years back. You could call it literally a classic version, because it actually didn't really progress, except like you have new elite specializations for Guild Wars 2. If you don't know what it is like new specs, you could call it like that. They have like multitude of new zones, multitude of new transmog, if you can call it like that, like cosmetic, like the fashion warfare. Pretty much, it's fashion wars instead of guild wars, pretty much. And that's okay, but it's very hard to keep your players interested. Like World of Warcraft has a power creep issue for retail especially, and I would also say like SOD. If you're thinking about classic SOD, it is kind of the same as well. But Guild Wars 2 has like the opposite problem. They have like no power creep, and there is nothing that is really going up. There's nothing to actually incentivize players to stay on Guild Wars 2. If you're playing Guild Wars 2 today, you play it 1 month, 2 months, like the same amount you would be playing retail, and it would actually not change a thing. You would have seen everything you would have seen. You would have more cosmetics. You would have done some fractals. You would have done maybe some raids here and there. You would have done maybe some strike missions. If you know Guild Wars 2, you know what I'm talking about. You would have done structured PvP, and then there is the evergreen system, which is world versus world, which I really like, but it is so little incentivized. It's such a they don't want to keep the players. They don't like beg players to stay. That really it's hard to stay in general. Like, and that's the main issue I see about man. All right, but that is the main issue that I see about Guild Wars 2, right? Guild Wars 2 has an issue where they don't manage to keep their players. I'm actually like destroying that rogue. I suck on rogue, by the way. But I guess I had like the opener, so it would help. I did use all my CDs. But yeah, truly, he was also an assassination rogue, no? Or maybe I didn't see it, to be fair. Like, I'm playing without like a lot of add-ons, so That's the one thing I had like have difficulties with Guild Wars 2. It's like they don't want to like keep the players at all costs. And I know it's like a toxic kind of thing about like gaming companies. You would say, oh no, they're playing with flavor of the month, fear of missing out. I don't like those things in my games because it makes me wanna have to play the game. But the truth is, even though you dislike that, most likely if you are playing a main game and you only play one game, you would actually want that to be implemented to keep the player base that would be volatile, that would be the tourists, that would be I play 1 month, I have seen everything, I don't care anymore, I'm coming next expansion kind of thing. If there is some fear of missing out here and there, some actual progression here and there, they would actually keep the players and it would most likely be better. Now, I have talked about Ashes of Creation, I have talked about Guild Wars 2, but I can also talk about like the previous flops, literal flops, right? Lost Ark, which was a game that I did promote on the channel back in the day. It was like the very first steps. I didn't even have like 1,000 subscribers. I did make a video about Lost Ark. I did make videos about Lost Ark a bit to promote it, and I was playing on the Russian server. And truly, really, truly, they just spat on like PvP. They just said, PvP, not important. F you. I'm just going to do raids for you guys, and if you are interested in PvP, who cares? And that's like really what made Lost Ark suck in PvP. Like literally, there was like no actual like care for the design and the design team to actually make PvP good. They didn't think about like long-term things. They didn't think about tournaments. They didn't think about a lot of systems that they would have actually need to implement. Wow, we got kicked. That's crazy. Okay, you might die here. Whoa, okay. But yeah, Lost Ark, complete failure, right? Then I'm thinking about Throne in Liberty, and that is a failure of a game itself. Like, I don't like a classless game. Like, I cannot bother with that. Like, I don't like MMORPGs where you are just like choose your weapons and that's it. I feel like it's such a lazy design because it's one of the easiest thing to implement. You just need to care about balance. You don't need to care about lore. You don't need to care about the character. You don't need to care about anything regarding the overall class, the class ecosystem, I would say, right? They don't need to do efforts to make it count. They don't need to make the whole work that World of Warcraft, even Guild Wars 2, or even like, I don't know, Aeon, or like name other like class MMOs, Warhammer Online as well. You don't need to make and put the work in to make classes relevant. They just need to make weapons, and they can keep on making weapons, but at one point it is just boring. Like an archer that can then put a wand to just heal and then go back to their bow. It's really sucky design. Guild Wars 2, for example, has classes and weapons, right? You can swap weapons, and weapons have skills itself, but it is depending on the class. The class makes the weapon skills, not the weapons makes a class, right? That's something different. Like it's for example, World of Warcraft kind of has that in a way, where if you are wearing swords, you cannot be an assassination rogue. You still need daggers, right? It's little things, but it is really the things that matter to me. Throne and Liberty already lost me there. I think the gameplay is also very feathery, very light. I personally didn't really like that too much as well. I also didn't like really PvP around it. They had the ideas, they had the systems, they had the world, but they just didn't do anything to keep it relevant compared to other games like World of Warcraft. And that's why, like, again, like, I'm thinking about like any game that would come out right now, would come out in the very near future. A lot of people are like thinking, oh, League of Legends is going to be, or like Riot is going to be making an MMO and it's going to be the savior. My issue with the Riot MMO is it's not out. You have not even an alpha out. I cannot really be hyped about something I haven't seen, I haven't touched, I haven't felt, I haven't heard about in so many years. Like, I know that they're planning to do it, but it's not enough. Like, it's like just planning and saying, oh, we are working on it, we are like recruiting devs for it. There is not even like some designs, there are not even like art, not even art about like monsters they created in the open world. You don't even know if it's going to be an isometric game or if it's going to be a 3D game, like for example a third person view, like for example World of Warcraft. You don't know if it's going to be a top down view like Lost Ark. You actually don't know anything about the Riot MMO, and somehow some way people are like trusting them to make it good. I trust Riot because I like League of Legends. See in the fighting game that they're going to make, which is 2x KO, I think. That's going to be something I'm going to be playing. It's going to be fantastic to play as well. I like fighting games. The card game is literally just Hearthstone. I prefer Hearthstone in my opinion. They made what else? They made also some mini games here and there in the browser of League of Legends. You also have TFT, for example, which is a auto battle. They do stuff and they turn it into gold. That's perfect. But right now the MMO is just like pure air. And for me, you cannot sell me air right now. Like, I am way too practical for that right now. While World of Warcraft truly is still the king of the MMOs, so it is answered in that video. I wonder if anyone is going to debate with me with that. Like, they're going to say, like, I want you guys to debate with me. I want you guys to convince me that World of Warcraft is not the king of MMOs regarding PvP. And if there is an alternative to that, right? If there is the population as well for that. Don't say like RuneScape, please. Like old school, like old OSRS is not my cup of tea. I know it's super popular. I know PKing is fun. You can also say Albion Online. I personally have difficulties to invest in a game where the gameplay is such, it's dumbed down. Like, it's, for me it's not MMO at that point. Like, I see it more as a MOBA with MMO mechanics. And I had that problem with Lost Ark, but Lost Ark had like a lot of customization, a lot of abilities, and it was very nervous and it was very skillful as well. But they dropped down on actually like giving PvP content. They really saw PvP as like a side thing. And I think World of Warcraft also has PvP as a side thing. But I still hope that they're not really doing that. I hope they're having plans about PvP. I hope they're going to do something about PvP for World of Warcraft. But at the moment, I see no MMOs, like even New World. Like, I haven't talked about New World, but it also failed because, again, the gameplay is very, it's feathery. Like, it's the same genre as Elder Scrolls Online, where it's like you can miss your shots, you can miss your stuff, and I I personally don't really like that too much. Like, action combat is first and foremost not really my cup of tea, but there are games that makes it work for me. For example, Guild Wars 2 is also action combat, although it is tap target, it is also action combat. You can like have a hybrid form of that. I still think if you want to have competitive PvP, it makes more sense to go the World of Warcraft route. But again, I don't like see any MMOs coming out currently about PvP to make sense, to make it better. And that's from like coming from someone that actually doesn't play too much World of Warcraft these days, except like maybe a bit of Classic to prepare for TBC anniversary and for Mists of Pandaria Classic. That's it. Like, it's not like I'm doing too much PvP right now. I'm playing more League of Legends. I'm planning to even play more fighting games because I really miss like a true 1v1 competitive game where I try to be better and get better at it. I play Warzone with friends. I like shooter games. I really like have a lot of fun with that. Even though like it does lack the progression systems that, for example, not MOBAs, but MMOs has, like for example World of Warcraft, having like a character and building it up and making it better and better and better. I think there are like, again, power creep is such a hard thing to design, right? You want to give progression to the players, but you don't want to make it too much or progression to the point where you're doing 3 million eviscerates, for example. I think it's a bit too much. I don't know. We'll have to see. So this is a video, again, rambling about PvP. I kind of answered the question itself, like, is World of Warcraft still the king of MMO PvPs, like PvP and MMOs? And for me, it is yes. Hopefully, you are going to say no, and hopefully, you have a real response with a real MMO in mind that is actually better than World of Warcraft. I'm all ears. Again, I'm thinking about like the holistic thing, the competitive side, the bragging rights, the care for the devs, the amount of balance changes, the amount of changes, the amount of things going on about PvP. That's what I'm thinking about, not like purely like what if scenario, like what if you had balancing at all times every 2 weeks in Guild Wars 2. That would be fantastic. But the truth is, you have a lot of win traders right now because the population just doesn't follow. You have to need a minimum of a population on your game to make it thrive. I'm thinking about, like, again, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, New World, Lost Ark, the Throne in Liberty. Like, what do they not have compared to World of Warcraft? It is actually the population, the amount of players playing the game and interacting with PvP. World of Warcraft, even though they have issues, still is the king of PvP.